Welcome back to Pagan Valley, everyone. Tonight we are taking a look at the latest addition to the Walten Files and its fourth entry, CyberFun Tech. I want to keep this video a little bit shorter because I want to look at some specific clues hidden in the video and then kinda give my overall thoughts and theories at the end. I feel this is appropriate considering how popular the Walten Files are, so I can safely assume that if you clicked on my video, you probably already saw the latest upload for yourself. Have you ever wondered how secure you are when browsing the internet? Are you jumping between public Wi-Fi spots all day? Are you traveling across the world but afraid you are going to miss the latest episode of your favorite show? Have no worries because NordVPN is here to help. In just one click you get more online security than ever before. NordVPN is the fastest VPN on the planet. Never miss anything from your favorite programs, even when you travel or stay home virtually. Stay safe from malware with anti-threat protection. NordVPN also comes with a password manager. It will keep your passwords handy when you're not online, making your digital life safer and simpler. Leaving home but need to bring your files with you? NordLocker keeps your files backed up, synchronized, and protected from prying eyes, data loss, or malware in its secure cloud. No one will be able to see them, touch them, or sell them. Your privacy is NordVPN's top priority. Never be tracked or have your data shared again. Your data remains protected at all times with strong encryption. Get NordVPN today risk-free for 30 days with the following discount from Pagan Valley. Take control of your online security today with NordVPN. Get NordVPN using the following code to get 4 months extra on a 2-year plan. That's www.nordvpn.com/Pagan Valley for a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. That's www.nordvpn.com/Pagan Valley. And thank you NordVPN for sponsoring this video. First off, let me just say that this newest video bounces around a lot. It feels a lot like 3 or 4 videos in a compilation, and while I was hoping for more scares and horror, this entry felt way more plot heavy, which is by no means a bad thing. Actually, I think I'm coming back for this series because the plot is so good. But we'll save all those opinions for later. Alright, jumping straight into the first thing I noticed in the video was this. It was this note shown at 2:55, which was written by Charles Brock, which was the employee that Jack or Bon killed and put in the Boozoo animatronic. It looks like this was written when Charles was first promoted in 1970 in CyberFun Tech, and it says, "Just got hired officially as the computer supervisor for something Bunny Smiles restaurant, though I've been coming up with a few names myself. I've known these guys for a while, they're family. I've done some work with them along with Susan for a few years now, even before CyberFun Tech. Getting to meet the Waltons and the Krankens has been super fun. So excited to get to work. The future is bright." An exciting note from a few years before the nightmare would begin around these families. But later on in the video at 9:22, we see 2 more notes made by Charles about 2 features he and Susan invented for the animatronics. The first was the console that makes animatronics more lifelike, which I think might be allowing the machines to host human souls, therefore creating the wonderland their spirits reside in. But the second one hit different when I first watched the video, because it's about the facial recognition software, and we can read that Charles tested this feature on Sophie, the only survivor from the murders and disappearances from the 70s. I think Charles also mentions it when talking to Susan, but either way we can assume that a combination of the facial recognition software and the console could give the haunted animatronics enough physical memory to interact with Sophie as if they were still human.
Next, for a quick one, I really love how the facial recognition software was presented in this video. Not only does it solve the mystery of what the hell this thing was, but also I had a chuckle because when the robot scans Charles's face, I was thinking, damn, Charles looks geeked out, totally shwasted on the job. At 16:45 there was a blink and you miss a jump scare image. It's really cool and I wished it would have lingered a little bit longer. At 8:32, I know you saw that big wall of text, so I went ahead and snapshotted it and then edited it to get the letters oriented. The first thing to stick out is that this message is sent to Felix by Norman Pooltrick, a character that has seldom appeared in the videos, but there has been 2 Norman appearances before this part, an audio log that mentions his name.
But Norman's shutting us down. He said the scene it caused was humiliating, right? You know, everyone's outside the fucking restaurant claiming somebody got killed. Fucking bad, man. He gave us 3 days. We got 3 days. Shut everything down. Sorry. Oh, God.
And this secret post on the Jack Walton website. Basically, Norman is the new owner of CyberFun Tech that joins Felix, who is running Bunny Smiles after Jack's disappearance. In that post on the website, we can see an attempt by Norman to try and revitalize the company in 1982. And in this message, in this part, we can see Norman telling Felix,
Mr. Kranken, this is Norman. I'm sending you this message on behalf of our deal between Bunny Smiles and CyberFun Tech, and most importantly, the well-being of our CyberFun staff. We've been getting a lot of complaints about a member of our staff going missing, who was highly associated with you and your team. Susan Woodings has been missing for a week now, and here in CyberFun Tech, we are working as hard as we can to try and manage to get in contact with her. Is there perhaps any detail you could hand us to help locate our missing employee? I'm going to be entirely honest with you, Mr. Kranken, and tell you I have a ton of questions and suspicions about whatever is going on with your company. Whatever it is, it's making both your company and mine look bad to the public light. So again, if there is anything that would help us find Susan, write us back immediately. Thank you, I'll see you Monday, Norman.
Also, during the facial recognition training, we saw the same animation that we saw in the first kill of the series in part 1 with Brian. That visual absolutely confused me originally, but this makes a lot of sense. Bon was scanning Brian, and considering that we know Bon has Sophie's recognition, maybe Bon was scanning for her. But after that, I didn't really pick up on any major clues. There were some flashes of disturbed imagery, but I still want to talk about the Bon character at the end of the video, and how it's connected to the console and face recognition technology. I have a theory, and then I've seen some theories by other creators. So let's start with one that is not mine. The theory is that Bon the entity is not Jack Walton, but some maleficent spirit that is possessing the Bon animatronic, and also has created the Wonderland limbo world to host souls that it takes. Which explains why Ed and Molly, who are spirits, can see this thing and actively want to save their family and friends from being tricked into becoming puppets on Bon's strings, like what we saw with Susan. But Ed and Molly can't be touched by Bon because Bon didn't kill them. One piece of evidence is that on the monitor of the console's walk-around function, we saw an image of Bon from the spirit world go into the suit, not Jack. I don't know about this theory. I kinda don't like that the plot would throw this curveball in. If it is what's going on, then that's cool. I'm just more of a fan of a simple plot, one that looks at evil caused by addiction with Felix and evil caused by grief and anger like with Jack, and can either evil be redeemed and forgiven? Or like my worst fear for this theory is that it's revealed that Felix didn't do anything wrong, this evil spirit made him crash off the road to kill the kids. I doubt that would happen, but I just see that possibility, and I really expect this series to be deeper and smarter because it's so good. So what about my theory? Well, I think mine is the harder pill to swallow, and I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong. But I think Jack is Bon, and this Wonderland is simply all created by the console technology and the animatronics, which all comes from the still beating heart that is placed into the machines, and I think their consciousness gets put into these consoles. And it's that console that allows Jack to be both. He's put on the suit, he's put his consciousness and psyche in the console, but he just hasn't died yet, which is why the animatronics see him as Bon, because that's how he wants to present himself. And this white figure is the form he wants to present himself as in front of Susan in the Wonderland. I mean, my theory isn't perfect, but it's an idea, and I think the console and the facial recognition software is going to be a huge key to a lot of what comes next in the story. Hell, the title of the video is CyberFun Tech. These devices were the focus of the video. So we've reached the part of this video that I wanted to talk about the things I liked and didn't like in it. But there are far more good things than bad, so let me get these negative things out of the way first. I mentioned it at the beginning of this video that this video feels like 3 or 4 crammed into one. And even still, there felt like fluff that could have been cut, which is all just pacing issues at the end of the day. Another thing is that when Bon killed Susan, I think that this was a wrong move for the series, because what has made the series scary is how we don't see how these characters' faces get all distorted. It's left to our imagination to fill it. But when we see an animated cartoon of Bon just like snapping her neck, I was kind of like, well, now that I see it, it's not really scary, it's kind of more just awkward. Which, diving a little deeper, I want to give my hottest take about this video, and that is, I think this is the least scary of the series. Don't get me wrong, there are some times I jumped, but I think this needed some gore injected into it badly. Like, instead of breaking Susan's neck, like, why don't we do something creative with the Bond suit or the workshop? Like, I feel like if this had the first video's energy, we would have seen Bond, like, gouge her eyes out and start putting animatronic eyes in her sockets while she's still alive. In other words, this video felt weak, and I don't even think kids would have been scared by anything in it. My last criticism is for the story, and that's Bond/Jack bringing Susan back to life in Wonderland. In my opinion, Ed and Molly should have brought Susan into Wonderland and given the exact same speech as Bond. Then I would have been like, oh, so Ed and Molly are bringing Bond's victims back to life to get revenge on him and Felix. Which is why Ed and Molly are like still haunting Felix through the pink rabbit doll. This video was about CyberFun Tech, specifically the facial recognition software and the console that makes animatronics more lifelike. My theory is that this Wonderland we are seeing is Susan's psyche downloaded into the Banny console. So if Jack has copied his psyche into the Bonds, that explains how Jack can appear in Wonderland while also being alive. And this theory would imply that someone put Ed and Molly's psyches into Wonderland as well, which I would only guess Felix did it, like he drove from the scene of the accident to the Bunny Smiles workshop, and then back to the scene of the accident to bury them. I mean, we have been shown that a lot of these workshops and facilities are in the woods, because we saw Brian drive out through the woods to get to work. And again, these are just my opinions and thoughts, and I have much more good things to talk about. As always, the Walten Files continue to impress me with how it combines its own art with the real world. It's so iconic in this community, and it's a pleasure to see new ways it's used. Which leads into my next good thing was the introduction of full body animations to show the story. I really like these character designs. They are uncanny and yet very cute. I think it's the eyes specifically that make them stand out. Like this one scene of Jack driving his car, I don't know why, I just really like this framing with the art style. And the animation around Felix's story of him not deleting himself is very beautifully done. The whole time I was like, he should do it or he shouldn't do it, and that was what the character was feeling, and I really love media that tunes you in like that. Moving from the visuals, I still believe the sound design in the Walten Files is probably some of the best in analog horror. Every tape recording effect or muffled effect just elevates the video while feeling real. I really like Molly and Ed's voices as well in Wonderland. It's really scary and also really cute. Lastly, I want to say one thing that goes against my negative opinions earlier. I don't believe the gory visuals and imagery really aren't what has so many people invested in this story. It's the characters and the family drama. And even when this video wasn't as scary as I hoped it would be, my eyes were never not glued to the screen, wanting to learn more and more about what happened to these families. And since there wasn't any super weird curveballs thrown into the plot, I will say that this video is really good. The story again finds that good balance between cryptic and blatant, and that keeps me engaged, and I'm sure it keeps all of you engaged too. So those were my quick thoughts on the Walten Files. Maybe when the next parts come out, we'll do a full what the hell video covering everything, including the Jack Walton website. But until then, we have some series that you have all suggested down below that I can't wait to break down. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking down below and subscribing to see more. Tell me down in the comments your thoughts on the latest part in the Walten Files. What are some theories you have? Tell us about any clues that I missed that you want to share with everyone else down there. With that, this has been Pagan Valley, wishing you all a good evening.